Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of SEC Power Rankings. We are fast approaching the end of the season. This will be my second to last one, so please hit that like button, please subscribe, and let's jump right into it. A very chaotic week in the SEC, but the bottom of the SEC has not changed. Mississippi State gets beat by Missouri by multiple scores. Still not a great football team. Again, they have found the quarterback of the future. I think that's pretty clear. The Egg Bowl spread is something like 27.5 points or something like that. I'm going to be honest. I teased it. I'm taking Mississippi State by 33. If you cannot keep it within 33 points, my guys, there's serious issues there. I don't believe in Jeff Lebby long-term. I do believe in the quarterback the long-term. It's kind of like a Billy Napier situation, even though I do think Billy Napier is a better head coach, that the quarterback can drag you along because that's how good I think Michael Van Buren can be. He's been pretty impressive to me. And then you have some good wide receivers there as well with Kevin Coleman, Mario Craver, and guys like that. Still need to find another dynamic tight end there, get better on the defensive side of the ball. But if they do that, they can be a pretty good football team. Number 15, I have Kentucky. Kentucky's not a good football team. They are anemic offensively. Boyle, I think, is a pretty good quarterback. I forget his last name. It escapes me right now, but he's better than Brock Vandagriff. So Cutter Boyle, he will be your quarterback next year and should be, unless you find like a 4 or 5 star. That's like a for sure thing. Do not overspend this time, Kentucky, for next season because it did not work out. It probably won't work out again. I don't know how this portal class is going to be, but unless this is a surefire thing in the portal, stick with him. He made some pretty impressive throws. He has a lot of moxie, and he was able to force the ball down the field, which Brock Vandagriff kind of like refused to do, guys. So I was actually pretty impressed with Cutter Boyle. Number 14 is Auburn. They're still a bad football team. They tried to give that game away. You go up 21 points at home. You should be able to extend that lead and win that game by more than you did. Instead, you go into 4 overtimes, rely on a drop by Texas A&M and Amari Daniels. So Auburn, you're still not a good football team. I don't know what Hugh Freeze is going to do there long term. If they don't get a quarterback, I don't think he's going to last very long. But I think they do end up with a quarterback. We'll see how Deuce Knight is. Maybe he's electric his freshman year. There's very few great freshman quarterbacks, guys, that change teams overnight. I think DJ Lagway's kind of done that for Florida, but there's very few of those guys. So can Deuce Knight be that for Auburn? We'll have to see. Number 13 is Arkansas. They're a nice football team. There's nothing special about them. They don't really do anything fantastic. Taylor Green's hit or miss. Jaquindon Jackson's really nice, but their offensive line's not that good. We saw that versus my Texas Longhorns giving up 6 sacks. Defense is okay, not great. You have Landon Jackson at defensive end position, but that's really it on that defense. So they are my number 13 team in the country, or power rankings in the SEC. Number 12 is Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma is a solid football team when everything's going right. Problem is they're like the worst version of Texas. They're not as talented. They have a lot of injuries, and they shoot themselves in the foot constantly, a lot like Auburn does. And they don't really have a quarterback. I mean, Jackson Arnold did his best Johnny Manziel impression, rushing for over 150 yards in the game versus Alabama. They were able to get the running game going, but you won that game with 60 yards passing. I think that says a lot more about Alabama than it does about Oklahoma. They're not a great football team. Defensively, they are very good. They're a top 10 defense in the country, top 3 or 4 in the SEC, so they are very good there. But they're just not that good of a football team. Even if they were healthy, guys, I still think they're like a 7-5 football team, maybe 8-4. Florida, number 11. This is all DJ Lagway. This team believes in DJ Lagway. This administration believes in DJ Lagway because they wouldn't have stuck with Billy Napier otherwise. He's been really good for them in the games he has played. This team's going to go bowling. This team's going to be probably 7-5, guys. That's a hell of a season with this type of schedule. DJ Lagway, I said, buy as much stock as you can in my 5 takeaways 2 weeks ago. I think this guy's a number 1 pick in the NFL draft. I think he has that type of talent. I think him versus Arch Manning next year is going to be insane. It's going to be really fun. He's spectacular. Just get the right weapons around him. Get some more running backs around him. I like Jaden Ball. I like Jacoby Jackson. Need some more wide receivers, hopefully, and keep Eugene Wilson. If he doesn't transfer, go to the NFL. Keep DK and keep Elijah Badger. If you can do that, this team's got a chance next year. Number 10 is Vandy. Good, solid football team that's improved in every area. Diego Pavia is gone, though, after this year. I think this was kind of the high point for them. Let's see if you can go even higher here this week. You play Tennessee. If you beat Tennessee, you go 7-5. That's a hell of a year for Vanderbilt. It's a really nice send-off for Diego Pavia at home if he can do that and make him a Vandy legend, honestly. He's already a Vandy legend, but I think he'd probably be the best Vanderbilt football player since Jay Cutler if that happens. I really think that. So Really big game this weekend. Number 9's LSU. You're getting Fire, Brian Kelly chance in the stands. I think they're a solid football team. They're going to finish 8-4. They're going to finish 9-3. They're not a terrible football team, guys, but you just got to be better than you are. Especially in year 3, it's kind of unacceptable, and it really a bad look to hear that, especially with some recruits in the stands. So not a good look for LSU and LSU fans there. Number 8 is Missouri. They're going to be 10-2. There's a really good chance they finish, 9-3. At worst, they're 8-4, and this could be one of the worst 9-3 football teams in a very, very long time. You get blown out by Alabama. You get blown out by South Carolina. You lose. Didn't they lose another game? No, they didn't. Sorry, they are number 8. Sorry, guys. Brain has been a mess. I am suffering from food poisoning, so brain is getting back together. But yeah, they could finish 9-3 and still not be a very good football team. We'll see what they do versus Arkansas. I'm gonna take Arkansas. That's a sneak preview for this week's live show. So we'll see how they do there. But just not much to believe in there. There really isn't. Number 7's A&M. I think they're a nice football team. Are they this team like people pushed them up to be? College football playoff contender, national championship, possibly, dark horse? No, they never are. They always get pushed from that conversation. They're a game away from being 8-4 and being what they always have been as a program, especially throughout their history. So I don't really believe in A&M. We'll see what happens this week versus Texas. Who knows? Rivalry game, first time in since 2012, 2013. So this is going to be a hell of a game, hell of an atmosphere, but A&M's number 7 for me. Number 6, Alabama. I think this team is heavily matchup dependent. If you cannot stop Jalen Milroe running the football, they can beat you. If you can stop Jalen Milroe running the football and make him purely a passer, they can beat you. They can beat you. If you can stop the run, you can beat them. Sorry. Again, brain is fried this weekend, guys. Number 5 is Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I never believed in them. I said the last month and a half when everyone was hyping them up that I didn't think they were a national championship contender because I think Jackson Dart's overrated and I think Lane Kiffin is not a national championship head coach. Both proved to be the case down the stretch. This team's not going to win a national championship. They're probably not even going to get to a college football playoff now. And Jackson Dart's going to turn the ball over when it matters most. That's what he does. I've seen it a lot. I just don't think he's that good. Number 4, hottest team in the country, in my opinion, is South Carolina. I disagree with people saying South Carolina can't be above Bama because they lost to Bama. They lost to Bama at home by 2. I'd have no issue with the committee putting in South Carolina over Alabama. Over Ole Miss, I would have an issue. Ole Miss beat the crap out of them 28-7 on at South Carolina, so that would be a big issue I would have. But if you want to rank them over Bama, I have no issue with that. Number 3, and I think this is where the first tier starts, Tennessee. I think they're a good, solid football team that if they can get enough from Nico, can probably win a college football playoff game or 2 because that defense is nasty. It's one of the 3 best in the SEC. They just need to get more consistent play from Nico because they have the wide receivers. They have the running back. They have the defense. We'll see what happens with that team. Number 2 is Georgia. Consistency with the whole team, and especially with Carson Beck. If this team is more consistent with Carson Beck and he's not having as many turnovers, they can probably win a national championship. If he's going to continue to turn the ball over at a high rate, they're not going to win a national championship. So I have Georgia at number 2. Number 1 is Texas. None of these teams are perfect. If you want to argue for Tennessee at 1, Georgia at 1, I don't care. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm putting Texas 1 here because they have 1 loss. That's literally it. You want to argue their schedule? Fine, argue their schedule. This team isn't perfect. That third quarter was abysmal versus Kentucky. They tried to give that game away, and Kentucky's so bad they couldn't take it. But the first half of Texas, that's a pretty damn good first half. 200 and something yards to 87, 24-7. They dominate it, and then they come out in the third quarter and do that. And that's why this Texas team has been inconsistent. That's why there's doubts about this Texas team winning a national championship. And their people have every right to doubt this team because of that. So again, guys, that will do it for these SEC Power Rankings. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. It really helps out. I know I struggled through that. Again, I had food poisoning. I'm working back. It's going to take a minute, but I really appreciate you guys being here, and thank you for that.